Hey everyone, it's Mike here. I'm just shooting another video, follow up with the last one that I posted. The last one that I posted was just a full-out workout. It's one that I've had for years. It's kind of just constantly morphs into something new all the time as I find new moves or I want to change things up. In another video, I'll go into explaining how that workout is designed. It was actually designed with the help of a number of different people, and then it's just something that I've just kind of tweaked just to customize, for myself. But I'll get to that in another video. I do want to just talk a bit today, just about kettlebells and why I'm doing this. Really, I'm only doing this because I like kettlebells. It's something that if I can share my knowledge and share my enthusiasm for them with someone else, then that's great. That excites me. So that's really the only reason why I'm doing this. So I started, as I said, with my video, and what I'd like to do is just do short little video clips that tie in with that workout. Because otherwise, if you just look at that workout, it's like, oh, it's just some guy doing his workout and whoop-de-ding. I'm hoping that I can break it down into some basic parts and just start with some of the simple things, and then just show you how I've built over the years and added different elements to the workout, a bit of the mentality behind it, those kind of things. I also want to say that everything that I have learned has been from my experience, just doing hours and hours and hours of it, but more importantly, actually learning about it, seeking other mentors. So a few years back, I've followed Agatsu, Sean Mosen's Agatsu program. Went to one of his training courses and was absolutely phenomenal. And you can see here that some of my kettlebells are even from Agatsu. Actually, most of mine are. I just like the style of them. They're comfortable. That's something else I can get into a little bit too, is explaining why I have the different kettlebells, what they do, why some of them are different, that kind of thing, and go from there. Another person is Keith Weber here in Red Deer. And he's sometimes goes by Kettlebell Keith. You'll see him post. He does all kinds of phenomenal videos. He's the one that actually got me hooked on kettlebells probably over 12 years ago. Got together with him and he said, hey, look at this that I've come across. And then since then he's run with it. He does all kinds of stuff. And if you really want some really, really good information, you can check his stuff out too, because he's got videos out and tutorials, and has his own gym and classes and all that kind of stuff. So really phenomenal stuff there as well. But anyways, I don't want to keep this too long. I'm already at my 3-minute mark. So I want these videos to be fairly short, just kind of quick. So today I'm just going to focus just on the basic technique now, or the basic swing, two-handed swing. Now the swing I use is this one I've taken from my Gatsu, what I've learned from the Gatsu. Hopefully I'm not doing it wrong, but it works for me. It is more based on the posterior chain. So the American style swing, that's one that I see Keith do a lot of, is American style. The American style is a lot more of a squat based. So using a lot of quads, a lot of squat based. This style is more posterior chain. So glutes, hamstrings, calves, that kind of thing. So you see, if it looks a little different than maybe what you've seen somewhere else, that's all it is. There's debate on which one is better. I'm not going to get into that. I prefer this one because I do a lot of quad stuff in some of my other exercises, and this way, this really helps it helps ensure that I'm getting that posterior chain stuff. So my glutes, my hamstrings, calves, it really helps balance things out a lot, is what I find anyways. And then the swings themselves, interesting enough, I feel like when I get into a rhythm with the swings, it's almost like a dance. I don't know, maybe dancers would say, hey, this has nothing like dance at all, but it's almost what it feels like. It's just kind of rhythmic, and that's another reason why I like it so much. So I'm gonna start just with a swing today, and just go through that, and then, well, that should be it. Okay, so I'm just going to set this up, and I've tried finding a spot where it would be best to be able to see this. And I know there's been a bit of a glare in this basement, so hopefully that works, and hopefully you can see my kettlebell in this. Now, I'll try from a few different angles, like forward and sideways, just so that way you get a sense of this. But the idea behind this is it's like a straight leg deadlift. So first thing even just to do is just get the feel of what does it feel like to use your glutes, your hamstrings, your quads, using that posterior chain to do a straight leg deadlift. Okay, so with my kettlebell in front of me, that's all I want to do. So my feet are a little bit more than shoulder width apart. Okay, my weight is my kettlebell's in front of me. I'm just going to reach down and I'm going to hinge. So a hinge at the waist. So if I was to turn it sideways, okay, again, I'm hinging at the waist. Okay, noticing that my back is straight, my head is straight. If I was to be able to draw a line from my tailbone to the tip of my head, it should be a straight line. I don't have any way of checking that right now. So hopefully that's what I've got. But the idea is that when I lift this weight, I'm using the posterior chain muscles to pull myself up, okay, and come back down. I have the weight, it would look something like this, okay, and back down, back down. If I was to do this forward, it would look something like this. Again, okay, square myself up. Notice that my head should stay down, everything should stay straight. Again, I'm thinking in my head, my legs are straight. I should have a straight line between my tailbone and the tip of my head. Okay, and I'm just going to pull up using my glutes. Okay, now that's the basic, that's where the power comes for the two-handed swing. When I go to the gym, I see a lot of people and it looks like they're really using their arms. I don't know if it's they think that it's a shoulder exercise or what it is, but really, although the shoulders are getting the workout and the forearms are getting the workout, it's almost secondary. They're guiding the kettlebell. They're the ones that are making sure it's not flying off. You're keeping control, or I'm able to keep control of that kettlebell. Where the power and everything comes from is from the backs of my legs. Okay, so I'll just try a basic swing, two-handed swing. Okay, again, where I want this kettlebell to go on the swing is when I start to swing, I'm going to be bringing it up to about here, and when I bring it down, think wrist to crotch. This was a term that Sean had used in his GATS training, wrist to crotch, and something like that. But I also thought of kind of hiking a football. So right between the legs, out the backside, so someone would be able to grab it from between your legs, okay? And the motion will look something like this, okay? So with the kettlebell, I'm reaching out. It's a little bit in front of me, so that way when I start, I can actually pull it straight through and then up. And I'll try again, but I'll do it from the side this time, just so you can see what that looks like from the side. And I'll try and get my angle as nice as possible here. Again, make sure my feet are planted. I'm nice square to the kettlebell. I'm going to reach out, nice comfortable position, okay, and then through and out. When I'm done, I'm just going to place that kettlebell out front, okay, again keeping my head out, and bring myself back up. And that's the two-handed swing. So that's the fundamental building block for that swing workout. That's what I start each set with, is just two-handed swings, and then I go into different variations. I usually end with two-handed swings for that unit of exercises or sets, just to give a kind of a break in between. And it's also ensuring that I'm getting that posterior chain workout, especially if I'm doing a lot of getting into squat stuff and more press stuff and those kind of things. So thank you for watching, and I'll be doing another video. Next one will probably be with I think I'll be looking at a one-arm swing and go from there. Okay, thank you for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again. Today I'm going to look at doing the one-armed kettlebell swing. You'll see in the workout video that I posted, this was actually the second exercise that I did. Although it all kind of looks continuous because I just flow from one thing to the next, how that video worked, or how that workout was designed, is I started with 10 two-handed swings, and then I switched into 10 one-arm swings on my right hand, 10 one-arm swings with my left hand. So there was a little bit of a transition in between. When I did that particular portion of the workout, I just stuck with one side, and then once I got to 10, I switched over to the other side. Later in the video, you'll see me do, I believe, a switch with each side. I think I actually do a clean in between, but those are all little variations you can do. It's more of a preference thing, or how you want to do your workout that day. So I'm just going to do a quick review of just the two-handed swing, just as a review, but also it just leads into that one-arm swing. Okay, so just last time I talked about thinking about that posterior chain hinging at the waist, okay, and thinking about that straight line from the tailbone to the top of the head, okay, reaching out to get that kettlebell. And then when I do my swing, when I pull that kettlebell back, it's wrist to crotch, okay, and then using my glutes to pull myself up, and there's my two-handed swing. So it'll look something like this. Pull it up. And in my workout, I did 10. So I just started with that, and it's a good warm-up just to kind of get the feel of the kettlebell and get all those muscles warmed up. And then what I did is I dropped into my one-arm swing. Okay, so what happened with that is, all I did is I let go of my one hand. It makes sense, right? It's a one-hand swing. But one of the biggest mistakes some people can make is that they don't know what to do with that hand that they drop. So what I do is I keep thinking, hey, I'm still swinging with that hand. So what you'll see is this hand, if it's my free one, it'll actually go back and it'll swing up with the other hand. So putting that together, if I go from the two-hand, when I drop, this hand still swings and comes back up. Well, what some people do is they do this, and then they're actually kind of out. They don't have any counterbalance, so they're a little bit twisted, and just by letting that hand drop. If they swing, it counterbalances, keeps everything square, keeps everything nice. Now, when we do the transition, I actually even let go and catch it, so you can do that. But then the same thing on this side, okay? But that's the nice thing, is that even though I'm letting go, this hand is already here to be able to catch it. It's not down here and then have to bring this up. It's all one motion. And so when I talked earlier about it being kind of a dance and just kind of a nice flow, right? So whatever movements I happen to do, okay, both hands are moving, I'm keeping square, okay? So I'll put that together for you just so you can see. This is just the first part of that workout. It's the two-handed swings with the one-handed swings. Okay, so start with the 10. So 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and this is where I drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and down on the front. Okay, so that's the two-handed swing followed by the one-handed swing. Again, keeping that, remembering to keep that free hand swinging with it, thinking about the technique, always thinking, hey, I'm hinging at the waist, pulling with the posterior chain, and then using your arms and your core just to guide that kettlebell and keep everything sturdy in line. So that's today's video. Okay, thank you. Everyone, it's Mike again, and today we're going to look at the next fundamental move in that kettlebell swing routine that I showed earlier, and that is the clean. And so far what we've looked at is the two-handed swing, the one-handed swing, and once you have that technique down, that motion down, you have the feel of the kettlebell and the swing of the kettlebell, then everything else starts to flow. However, this is kind of like the pivotal piece here. I feel that the clean then is what allows me to go into all the other moves from there. So going from the swing into this clean, from the clean we can get into presses, we can get into squats, and then other variations from there. The clean also, once we have that clean in place, it also can be a resting position as well. So if you're not wanting to put the kettlebell down, you want to keep that momentum going, you want to say, hey, no, I'm still working out, I'm just taking a breather, you can get into this position, this rest position, once you have the kettlebell up in that clean position. One of the things I want to talk about a little bit is just that idea about thinking about where that kettlebell is going to be. So when we do these moves, once we get into a clean or anything else, always be thinking stacking. Think about where is that weight. So for example, if I bring the kettlebell up and my arm is over here and that's where the kettlebell is, I've got nothing underneath there. So I'm using all shoulder, I guess I'm using my body to stabilize myself, and unless that's the exercise you're wanting to do, you can do it, but the reality of it is that's where you start to injure yourself. With this, we're wanting our core, so what I'm thinking is when I bring this up into my rest position, I'm thinking knuckles to chin here, and that's where I want to bring that kettlebell. It should be resting right up against my right shoulder, or if it was left hand, against my left. The idea about it is that weight is there, but it's still close, tight to my body, still over my legs, and from there I'd be able to go into squats, presses, whatever it is, but everything is nice, is tighter to my body, closer to my body. So even when we talk about the swings, once we bring them out there, we're bringing them back under, right? With this, it's nice, tight, we're not swinging it anymore. We want to hold it close, so that way we can do things like presses and squats. It's not like I'm repeating myself here, but that's essentially what we're doing. Okay, so what I want to do is just look at the clean today, and then from there, next video, we'll start looking into some of those variations. So it'll be just to review the clean, and then where can we go, because that's also the progress of that workout. Okay, so again, just like we did before, when we start, I'm just going to start with a couple of swings just to warm myself up and just kind of into my body being ready to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just a couple of swings. I'll drop to my one hand, and then what I'm going to do is actually pull up. So I don't want to be swinging out here and then trying to slam it back. It's still wrist to crotch, but then pull up and flip. So pull up, flip, okay, and then I'm embracing the weight. You'll also probably see what I'm trying to be conscious with my free hand as well. So again, when I'm doing things, if I'm going to go into my clean, I'm still swinging with that free hand. I'm not just letting it sit idly. I've seen people do things like put their hand behind their back. I guess maybe it's because they don't know what to do with it. For me, it might as well be swinging with it. And then if I switch, right, it's right there to be able to switch and grab onto it, do whatever I need to do, rather than be in an awkward position. So here it goes. We'll start with just the basic two-handed swing again. I'll drop to the one hand, and then with the clean, it's just up. If I want to drop it back down and up. So notice with the drop, what I'm actually doing is my elbow's nice and tucked into my waist. I'm not up here. It's nice in here. Notice that my knuckles are beneath my chin. Okay, I've got my other hand ready. My knees are slightly bent. Nice solid stance. And what I'm actually going to do when I release is, it looks kind of like this. If I was to do it slow motion, it would be just like that. And again, the nice thing is with this swing, I can switch it over and get to the other side. Again, slow motion, or as best I can, right? It comes out, between, and then back up. When I'm bringing that up, notice I'm using my glutes. I'm using my posterior chain to pull myself up into this clean position here. Okay, so I'm going to put it down, and I just want to show something too. One other question that people might have is, well, where do you hold it in your hand? And one of the things that Sean Mosen has shown in his workshop was to say, if you're to put a mark on this part of your hand right here, so I think he even took a Sharpie, put a little X there, the kettlebell would go right through here. So the handle would go right across here and cover up that little X. So if I'm go into that and I realize, no, it's too high, kettlebell's going across here, I'll just drop it and bring it back down again, let it slide, find that position before I move into my next exercise. Okay? So I'll show you what that looks like. I'll try and do close up when I bring this up. Okay, so I have this in position, and you can see where I have that kettlebell going across my hand. And if I don't have it there, if I don't feel it's comfortable there, or like it's up high or whatever else, I'll just drop it, bring it back up, and then try to get it into position again. Okay, so yeah, that's the clean, and you'll see through the video, there's parts where that's all it is. It's just 10 on one side, and then switch over, 10 on the other. Sometimes I do a variation where it's switch alternate each time. So left, switch over to right. And again, from this position, if I get tired, I need to just catch my breath, regroup. Hey, what am I doing next? All right, I'm gonna do a press. Okay, whatever it might be, I can be in this rest position and go from there. So that's the clean, and that's it for that one until we do our next video. Hey, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike here. Today I want to, in this video, I just want to go over just what's called the racking your kettlebell. In some of my previous videos, I just referred to it as a rest position. And in hindsight, I recognized, well, I should have been using the term rack, but I hadn't done this video yet, so that's why I'm doing this. First, I'm just going to switch out my kettlebell here. And not that it really matters which one, but the yellow one might be a little bit easier for you guys to see, opposed to the black ones, since I'm wearing a black shirt. So we've talked about just some of the basic techniques, the two-handed swing, one-handed swing, those things. And then we talked about doing the clean, which is bringing that kettlebell up to our shoulder. And if we continue doing that back and forth, that's just our clean. Now, if we choose to rest here, this is where we've racked our kettlebell. And it's this rack position that allows us to go into other things. So from here, if I wanted to go into a press, I can go into a press. Or if I'm doing my windmills, I can go into a press, position my feet, go into a windmill, those things. So this rack position is key. Rack position also can be a bit of a rest. If it's just that position you need, you don't want to put your kettlebell down yet because you want to kind of keep your momentum going. But you want to just give yourself a little bit of a breather or readjust your feet or whatever it might be. Sometimes even just readjusting your grip. So you can rack, feel your grip's a little bit off, do another clean, get in a good grip, and then go from there. So I'm just going to review or just kind of demonstrate the rack position. You've seen it before in some of my other videos, but this is essentially what it looks like. So what I'm going to do is just start with picking up my kettlebell with a two-handed swing. I'll transition, drop into a one, do a clean, and rack. And I'll just hold it there and then show you from there what that looks like. So, okay, so reaching out. Again, remember hinging at the waist, back straight, butt out. Knees can be just slightly bent, just to give a little bit of flexibility in your knees. You don't want to hyperextend your legs or anything, right? But notice I'm reaching out for my kettlebell. My head would be down right now. It's up just so I can look at the camera, but when I go to pick this up, my head's going to be down, so everything is straight, thinking straight line from my tailbone to the top of my head. Okay, I'll go into my swing and then one arm, clean, and into my rack. Okay, so two hand, drop to one hand, clean, and rack. Okay, so there's my rack position there. Okay, if I was to show it from the side, okay, it looks like this. Okay, so it's nice and tight to my shoulder. Notice I've got a little bit of a sway. Okay, that's just giving me a little bit of rest. Okay, my glutes, everything back here is engaged. Okay, so tight, so it's not putting strain on my lower back. My core is nice and tight. Okay, notice that my hands, I always think, are my knuckles underneath my chin? So if my knuckles are underneath my chin, then I know, okay, I'm in a decent position from here, right? And that's, if I'm out here, right, like there's nothing under here, nothing supporting it. It's a lot of strain on my shoulder, nice and tight in, and keep everything nice and compressed. Okay, if I was to switch over, left, and rack. Okay, my hand is up here. I like this hand being here because it goes into the swing. It's always just reminding me to move with the other hand. If it's down here, right, I'm doing weird body movements and I'm neglecting this. This will allow for better transitions for whatever it is that I'm doing, right? So again, switch over and rack. And that's the rack position. Thank you for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again. In this video, what we're going to look at is the press. Actually, a clean and first I'll just look at the press, then I'll look at the clean and press. So in the video that I put together, the full video, in the second unit of exercises after I do my reverse lunges, you'll see I just go into it's either I go into the press then or it's after the slingshots, which I've also demonstrated in one of my videos. And so with the press, it's just trying to keep everything nice and tight. I might have even done a video on this one already, so if this is review, then it's review. Primarily though, what I want to get to though is the clean and press, which is one of the exercises in the third set. I start with the third unit of exercises with the two-handed swings. I go into thrusters, and then I go into the clean and press. So just to review the press itself, again, I'll start with the two-handed swing. I'll drop to the one and bring it up into my rest position. And from here, this is where I do my press. Now, I think I talked a little bit about if you want to make it a little bit more challenging, keep your feet together a little bit more, try and get a little bit more stability. If you want, you can keep it further apart. Again, knuckles underneath the chin. Okay, so that's kind of a guideline for me to say, hey, am I in the right position? Kettlebell is just resting nicely against my shoulder. You can see if I'm standing sideways. Okay, that's my rest position. If I'm here, that's my rest position from here. And when I go to do the press, for me, I like keep my feet together. Okay, and it's just press up. Okay, and notice what I try to do is think bicep to ear. Okay, I don't want to be out here. If you think of this and you look where that kettlebell is, there's nothing underneath it. I mean, I can press it that way, but it's a lot on my joint, and especially if I'm working with some heavier weights. So from here, nice line. What that does, it really engages my core, not just my shoulders. So I'm pressing from in here and pressing up. If I reverse, drop it down, switch over, bring it into my rest position from here, and then press up. Okay, I keep this hand centered, again, just so that way when I bring it back down, I'm just here. It's just, for me, just nice and centered. I think some people I've seen have their hand out for balance. I find everything nice and tight. This is where I want everything going is straight through, right? And if I was trying to keep it a little bit more challenging, feet together, right? And bring it up. And you can even see a little wobble of me trying to keep everything nice and tight. When I'm ready to drop that down, bring it down and go from there. Now, with the squat or with the clean press, it's just like that. It's putting those two pieces together. So it's the clean and then a press. And from there, I'm just going to back up a little bit here so you can see. From there, I'm going to drop it all the way down. So this is where I spin a little bit, let that roll, and back up to here. Press, press. There's a clean, press. When I'm ready to switch, I switch it out. Clean, press. And it's just that nice little roll. So my shoulder goes forward a little bit, my elbow leads, and the kettlebell essentially does that, okay? So when it comes back down, wrist to crotch, and then snap back up for the clean. So when it goes down from there, snap back up for the clean, press back up, roll, snap back up for the clean, press, roll, and go from there, okay? So that's a review of just the press, as well as the clean and press, okay? And where you'll see that clean and press, it's in the third unit of exercises of that video, two-handed swings, thrusters, and then the clean and press, okay? And the next one that goes from there it'll go into the windmills, which if you watch the video, you'll see we go from that clean and press to the windmills. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again. This video, what we're going to look at is the kettlebell snatch. I did actually one. I'm kind of realizing as I was making the videos, I was like, oh, maybe I should have shown that one and shown the release of it, because a lot of these moves, they start to tie in, and as I think I mentioned, well, I know I mentioned it in one of the earlier videos, is that feeling that it's kind of like a dance, and you can change your moves up in your workout however you want. So my workouts aren't always the same every single time, but some moves flow better into others, and so that's why they're nice setup, a nice setup for the next one. And then or a nice transition. Also learning those techniques. So for example, today when we do the snatch, the idea today is instead of bringing it up to here in our clean position, we're going to bring it all the way up, straight above our head. And then from there, what we're going to do is release, sling it back up again. And what we're wanting to do, just like with the clean, is we don't want to be going out like this. We want to think, hey, what if there was something in front of us? We've only got a tight space. We're in maybe a tight closet, or I'm close to a wall. So what I want to do is actually bring it up. So I'm thinking up and then flip and back down. Same thing with the clean. It's up, right? And so the power comes from this movement here as I snap through with these muscles back here. As I'm snapping through, that's bringing that kettlebell up, or all the way up in the case of the snatch, okay? Once that kettlebell is up, and I talked about this, I think it was in the last video, the one before, when we want to bring that down, again, all we're gonna do is just turn slightly. So I'm leading with my elbow, I'm gonna bring it down, and then I can go back up again. Bring it down, back up. If I was transitioning from snatches back to getting into my clean position, my rest position, so I could do another one, it would be down and then up. Then I'm set to do whatever my next exercise is. Okay. So for the snatch, I'll start again with just a couple of two-handed swings. I'll demonstrate it from the front. I'll demonstrate it from the side today. Maybe because I'm on the right side, I'll go on the side, or because I didn't do it in the other video. And so that way you can kind of see what that looks like, and that'll be the snatch. So starting with the two-handed swing again, and so this one we're not going to go into. We're not going to go into the clean. I'm not going to use that as my setup for this exercise. What I'm doing is I've gone right from this one. I'll go into my one-hand swing and up. And I bring this hand back out center. Again, I like having it out here. As I said, I've seen some people do weird things like this. To me, I find that twists me. I find I'm nice and centered, square, And then sometimes even what I'll do is, it's just a mental cue for me. This hand comes out, I spin, and back up again. If I was to do that from the side, I'll try and get square here so you can see in the video. Okay, so out and up. Okay. When I want to switch, so if I did 10 on that side, I want to switch. Okay, I can again switch over. And then when I'm ready to be done, sometimes I'll go into a two-handed swing, back over, and then back to my rest position and ready for my next move. Okay, so that's the snatch. I didn't do that one in my video or in the workout that you saw. It was it's one that I incorporate every once in a while. It's like, hey, today I feel like putting those in, and so I'll do those. Other days it's like, no, I'm already giving my shoulders a good burn with some of the other exercises, or it's like, no, I want to put in something like my swing press, which I think I did in the video, just something different. So it's just a way to mix things up and try different things. But that's the snatch. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike here, and in this video today we are going to look at the kettlebell high pull. So this is just a variation of a swing. The idea behind this one is, instead of if we were just using our two-handed swing and bringing it out here, even just our one-handed swing, what we're actually going to do is pull that back to our body, push it back out, and go into our swing from there. So it adds a little bit of a extra dynamic with the shoulder, almost like a push-up motion, okay, or a punching motion, right? So just gives you that little extra into that swing. So it's a fun little one to do. It is good for getting that upper body movement and those kind of things. So this is what it looks like. I'll try a demonstration just from the front as well as the side, so you can see what it looks like. The camera doesn't always pick up the full movement if you just see it from the front. It can't always see exactly what's going on, so I'll try it from the side as well. But just like I said, it's going to be, I'll just go through this without the kettlebell. Okay, so once I drop down to my one hand, as I swing up as normal, I'm then going to just draw it back. And when I do this, I need to tighten my grip. Make sure that kettlebell is being held firm, so it doesn't want to drop or anything like that. I like to cushion it. It's almost like a little bit of a bounce in the shoulder. So pull it back, and I'm tightening that core to help thrust that back out, and then drop it back down again. Okay, so let's see what that looks like with the kettlebell. I'm going to again just start with my two-handed swing. So I'm in position. I'm going to be thinking hinge at the waist, arms out, back straight, get into that swing. And just remembering that I'm just going to keep saying it, wrist to crotch form, and using that posterior chain to do the lifting work. So here we go into my two-handed swing. I'm going to drop down to the one, and now I'm going to transition into that high pull. So when I go to that high pull, it's going to look like this. Okay. If I was to go to the side, and I'm just going to shift sideways here, we'll go again. Just make sure I'm square. Okay, we'll start with the two-handed swing. Drop down to the one, and that high pull. And usually I do about 10 on each side. You can alternate. So I could, with each one, alternate through. Or, as I was mentioning before, just do the 10 on one side, flow it over to the other side, transition over the other side, and then do 10 on that side. So that's the high pull. Hope you enjoyed it. Try integrating that into your workouts and see how it goes. everyone, it's Mike again, and today we're going to look at the windmill. The windmill is a maneuver that I go into after I do the thrusters. Again, you can build these in wherever you want. In just the workout that I had shown earlier, that was the next progression. Was we went two-handed swings, one-handed swing, thrusters, and then into the windmill. And again, transitioning using one-handed swings to get from one hand to the next, transitioning back into clean position so that way we can set up our next move. So with the windmill, this one is really key in terms of when I talked about in the last video about stacking, like keeping everything in line. So one of the things with this is that there's a little bit of a twist with this, and you want to be thinking, well, what muscle groups am I working? What am I trying to work here? And therefore, you want, as I said, you want to keep that weight over those areas that you're wanting to work, not just for the exercise, the strength part of it, but also for your safety part. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm just going to demonstrate this without the weight first. In fact, when Sean showed it in his course, we even used, I think it was bean bags or something, just on our hands. And it was just to get the feel of the twist in the arm. And that probably was one of the hardest parts with the windmill, was being able to keep my arm up and do the twist. So I'll show you what the windmill looks like, and then I'll break it down. So I'll start just with the kettlebell, and just so you can see what the windmill is, it was in the video. So clean, and then I go into a press. And the first thing I did was, if the kettlebell's in my right hand, again, pressing that up, trying to keep bicep to ear. And what I did is I just opened up my left foot a little bit. It just opened up my stance. Now what I want to be doing is, you can see I've got a straight line from my kettlebell all the way through. Okay, so the weight is through my body right now. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be hinging over my right side, and I'm going to try and reach down and touch the ground with my left. Okay, as I do that, I'm going to look up to try and keep everything in line. But while I do that, I actually have to twist my hand a little bit. So it looks kind of like this. There's the down position, and then back up again. Again, down position, and back up. Okay. From here, I haven't done much of these ones yet, but it was just kind of like the clean, where I talked about letting it go down between your legs. Is elbow comes in, let it fall out. And from here, it's the same thing when it's up. If I've got the kettlebell up and I want to drop it down, again, I just turn a little bit and let it just fall. So if I have the kettlebell up, bring it through. Okay, so you've seen me drop that, and I just realized, oh, maybe I should just add that. If you've seen me do that, okay, that's all I'm doing to try and keep that in line, okay? So if I was to do the windmill on the left side, again, I set myself up. In fact, I'm even going to drop back to my clean position here. Again, make sure, hey, this is where I'm at. Okay, I'm going to press. So I'm going to press, bicep to ear, everything's in line. I'm going to open up my right foot this time. And this time I'm thinking I'm reaching down with my right hand, keeping my left hand up. I'm going to look up as I bend. And as I bend, I'm going to twist my arm. So as I bend, okay, there's my down position. Everything should be in line. I press back up. Okay, if I do another, press back up. Okay, and again, if I was to release and go into my next move. So that's usually what the transition would flow from my windmills, down swing, switch hands, back to a clean position. Now what's my next move, right? And then I go into the next move from there. Okay, so real quick, just one thing I want to show. It's a little bit maybe hard to see with that. And I don't know, maybe I did a fine job with the kettlebell itself. But as I said, one way to do this is to start with just have anything. I think we, as I said, use bean bags or use a sock, just something to try and keep on your hand. And so for this, I'm just going to use this towel. I'm just going to place it on my hand. And what I'm going to try and do is just keep it on my hand so that way it doesn't fall off. And what that's going to do is just help my body recognize, my brain, compute, how is my body moving? So it's just creating that body awareness. If the towel drops, no big deal. It's not a kettlebell, right? I'm not hurting myself, but I'm getting the feel of that, okay? So what I'm doing is pretending I'm in my clean position. I'm going to press up. I'm keeping that towel on my knuckles. Again, open up with my left foot. And what I'm going to do is reach down. And as I reach down, I have to spin my hand, but I want to keep that towel on my hand. If I move and it falls off, okay, well, no, I've come out too far, okay? And the towel actually stuck pretty good. You saw I came down pretty far before, so it may not be the best thing. That's where the beanbags are kind of nice. But it is a way to get that feeling of what would it feel like if I was holding onto a kettlebell and having to keep that straight line. Okay? And so I'm trying to create a straight line between my right hand and my left, okay, through my body, looking up at my right. In this particular case, notice I'm hinging at the waist, so it's thinking stick my butt out, right? And then that's what I'm pulling up with. And as I come up, keeping that hand straight. And that's where the little twist is, right there, and then back up. Okay, so that's where that little twist is, just to get the feel of that. Okay, another way to do it would be to use a smaller weight, use a smaller kettlebell, right? Just to get the feel of it, say, okay, got that kettlebell up, get myself in position, and okay, there, that's right, or no, that didn't feel right, okay? So you can, you even use a smaller weight just to get the feel of the technique, which you could probably do with, and I mentioned it in one of my other videos, you could probably do that with all the moves, just to get the feel of the moves. And then ideally, once you get comfortable with what is it that you're going to do in your move, then you can increase your weight. So that's the windmill. And as I said, take that one slow. There's no rush with that one, making sure you're thinking about form, thinking about, opening that stance and making sure that you're keeping everything nice in line. You want that nice line between your kettlebell and your bottom hand, making sure you're looking up, that way you're not twisting anything funny. So, okay, that's that one. So thank you for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again, and in this video what we're going to look at is the slingshot. So last video we did, I showed you the two-handed press, and then what I go into in the video, in my workout video, like in the long one, is what's called a slingshot. And I'm going to go back into that inverted kettlebell to show you some leg stuff like I talked about in that other video. But I wanted to show you the slingshot in this one, and I introduced it a little bit in the last one. And not everyone likes this one. I've heard it called boob crushers before, and those guys, so it's not everyone's favorite, but it's a good one for your core. And the idea with this one is you're trying to keep as minimal amount of swing as possible. And you're going to see there is going to be some swing. I mean, that's what the challenge is. And obviously the heavier the weight, the more it's going to pull on you, the harder you're going to have to reel that back in. So this is really good core. And when I say core, I mean it's all the stuff, but everything's got to be tight. If you've got anything loose, you're really going to notice the momentum on this one. So how this works is you're going to want a little bit, just to make sure that your stance is wide enough, because what you're going to do is you're actually going to, when we bring this kettlebell down, so say we're starting from our clean position, we've got our kettlebell here, and we bring that kettlebell down, it's going to go between our legs, we're going to catch it, and then we're going to swing it up. What I usually do, and this is where it's for those that say, hey, there's a boob crush, I put my other hand out in front, so when I swing the kettlebell up, I almost catch the ball of it here, so it doesn't bang into my chest, and then it goes back down, catch it in the other, up, down, and then this is the motion. And again, as I'm doing this, I'm still thinking, right, posterior chain, I'm still thinking hinge at the waist. Those are the muscles that I'm using. I'm not wanting to, you know, use my lower back or do something weird, right? So let's go through. The catch is trying to catch the kettlebell on the other side and then be able to swing it up. Okay, so good warm up with this one is even just to do some figure eights, just to get the feel of catching that kettlebell between the legs. And so I think those, I even did those even before I knew what a slingshot was. And so the figure eights was just to get the feel of pulling that between my legs, like so, and catching it on the other side, right? And then that's the movement that we're going to be using for the actual slingshot itself, okay? So if I get into my position for my slingshot, so see I'm up in here, I'm going to be doing a swing, just like a swing, but I'm going to catch it, and then I'm going to wrap it around the other side. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Pull it up. I've even caught it this time just to show you. Hey, that's that hand here, so it's not slamming into my chest. Pull it through, right? And you could even go this slow if you wanted, just to get the feel of it. Again, trying to keep everything nice and tight. Once you get going, you can just give it a little bounce off your hand. And go from there. And again, once you're done and you get it, you can go into one-handed swing, back up to your resting position. You'll see, I think we get into a different one, so actually we'll stop it. We'll go into a different lunge. So the next video, that's what we're going to look at, is a number of different leg exercises. So there's one workout that I do where it mostly all focuses on legs, very little shoulder work. So a lot of it is just holding that kettlebell in that version and doing leg stuff. And that's what the next step in the other workout was going into some lunges. So that'll be included in that video. So that's those are the slingshots. Again, start with those figure eights if you need to. I'm even thinking another one is you could even just do around the worlds. If you're just trying to get the feel of passing that kettlebell from one hand to the next, you know, I think one of the things, even for me, I've done this for so long, I know what the feel is. But when I first learned, no, it took me a while just to get the feel. I give the analogy of any sport. If I played basketball, getting the feel of the basketball, just passing back and forth between my hands, just to get the feel of the ball. It's the same thing. I want to get just the feel of the kettlebell. I know where it's going. I know where to catch it. I don't have to be looking at it. I'm not worried about dropping it because I've done this so many times. I just know where it is. So those around the worlds are also good. And it's even a good core workout because the whole time you could be trying to keep yourself nice and stable just as you're going around. Once you do 10 one way, go 10 the other. You know, and that's also a good little exercise I throw in sometimes just to bring my heart rate down a little bit and catch my breath. If I'm like really panting and it's like, wow, I don't know if I can go to the next step, I'll do some around the worlds just to catch my breath but still be working, right? So, you know, here we go, catch my breath a little bit. Now I can go into my next one. So there's a few of them for you. You know, just from that slingshot, there are also the figure eights and the around the worlds. So a little bit of kettlebell work with that one. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again. I'm looking today at some of the leg stuff that I talked about in the last video. We'll start just with a reverse lunge, and then we'll get into some of the other stuff into the workout. But the reverse lunge is actually the next exercise I did in that routine when we got into the second set of units. So we started with two-handed swings, went into the two-handed press, which we did I covered in the last video, and then what I move into is the reverse lunge. So with reverse lunge, I choose reverse lunge just because then I can stay stationary. I could go forward as well, I guess, and that would be stationary and push back. But with the reverse lunge, I just find a little bit more comfortable stepping back. So it's just strictly a preference thing. It also allows me to keep the kettlebell kind of close to my body. And what I'm doing is I'm going to move my body around the kettlebell, essentially is what it is. So how this reverse lunge works is I'm going to start with the kettlebell on the outside. So if I'm starting with my right hand, kettlebell will be in my right hand. What I'm going to do is create a space under my right knee by dropping my left leg back. Okay, now I wouldn't normally go all the way down, so what I want to do is stretch back enough. I want to be checking my lunge form, so I'm just making sure again that my knee isn't extending out over my toes. So I'm really getting that nice stretch. 90-degree angle would be great. Okay, what I'm going to then do is pass the kettlebell underneath my leg and then step back up. Now the kettlebell is on my left side and I do the opposite. Create a space behind my left knee, pass it under and bring it up. Okay, so if I was to do that with the kettlebell, okay, so we would have gone from something like, as I mentioned in that workout, do the two-handed swings to the press, and then after doing 10 to the press, I would bring the kettlebell down, usually take a step or two forward just to give myself space. Right now my mat's kind of angled, but that's just because of how I'm showing my video, but I'd use the length of my mat. And all I'm going to do is just drop back, pass the kettlebell under, and then step back up. Pass the kettlebell under, step back up. It takes a little bit just to get the feel of just saying, hey, I'm passing it under, which side am I going? And then after you do it a number of times, it just becomes habit. Okay, if I was to turn to the side so you can see what that looks like. Again, if it's on my right hand side, I'm dropping back, pass it under, up, drop back, pass it under, drop back, under, drop back, and under. And that's essentially the reverse lunge. And so I use that as one of the exercises within the full workout. As I said, I went from the presses into the reverse lunge, and then I go into another exercise. I also make that part of just a leg workout, which in another video I'll show you some of the leg squats that I do, squat motions with the reverse grip kettlebell, and then put all those together in a workout. I'll get to a video with that to show you what that looks like. So there's the reverse lunge. Okay, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike. In this video today, I'm going to look at just doing the overhead reverse lunge. In one of my previous videos, I did the reverse lunge behind the leg. This one I want to do a reverse lunge above head. Okay. This one, typically, when I do the reverse lunge above head, I work one side first. So I do 10 on one side. I'll then flow it out to the other side, and then do 10 on the other side. You can flow it out in between each one to get an extended cardio, extended workout, extended movement. So there is flexibility either way. But I want to go basic, just give the basic technique of this overhead lunge. So first thing, again, we're going to pick up the kettlebell. I want it a little bit ahead of me. My feet a little bit wider and shoulder width apart, knees just slightly bent, just so they're soft. I guess soft knees is the term I often hear. And I want to hinge at the waist. So even as I'm going down to pick up the kettlebell, I'm already thinking, what does a hinge feel like? Right? So back straight, butt out, hands out, and there we go. So I'm going to pick up my kettlebell from here. And what I'm going to do is going to bring this into a rack position. From there, I'll give further instructions. So swing it up, drop one, and into my rack position. Okay, now from here, what I'm going to do is just a military press or shoulder press. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that up, And whatever side the weight is on. So right now the kettlebell is in my right hand. Okay, that's the leg that's going to do the major lifting. Okay, so that's the one that's going to be my bent knee. So what I want to do is from here, I'm going to drop my left side. So the kettlebell's on my right, it's my left that drops back. And what I'm looking for is about a 90-degree angle with my front leg. If I can't get that deep, that's fine. Biggest thing to pay attention to is making sure my knee isn't going out over my toe. Okay, so what I'm going to do is drop that leg back. Now, just to start, I'm just going to go down on my one knee just to give instruction. Just because I want you to see this here. One of the challenging parts with this is trying to keep this up the whole time. We want this arm as straight as possible, thinking bicep to ear. So that's part of the workout too. You're not just focusing on your legs, you're also focusing on your arm. Okay, so with this, you can have your hand out for balance. You can bring it in if you want. Okay, and it's just up. Okay, typically when I go down, I leave my knee about 1 inch, my left knee about 1 inch off the ground, and back up. Okay, from the side, it'd look something like this, and back up. Okay, if I go to transition, so say I've done my 10 or I want to flow it out, bring it down, rack, press, set my feet. I want this foot, my left foot square. My weight is actually even going to be on this foot. Okay, so I want my weight over here already. Drop this one back and up. If I make that little step of making sure my weight, I can even test by pulling this foot up. Okay, it'll make this better. If my weight's over here and I try to, okay, I'm going to shift. So it's like doing tree pose in yoga, right? Get your weight on one foot first, do your lunge and bring it up. Okay, so I'm gonna bring that back down, two-handed swing, kettlebell up front. Notice I'm still in my hinge position, let go and up. Okay, so that's the overhead reverse lunge. Hey everyone, it's Mike again. Today I'm going to look at just taking that clean into a variation, into another different exercise. So last video we looked at the clean, and although in the workout, so if you follow the workout that I posted first, you'll notice it was two-handed swings, one-handed swings. And what I did is I actually brought it to a clean and went into this next move, which is called a thruster. But I want to break the thruster down a little bit. And this was one that I had, it was Keith Weber had actually broken this one down for me a little bit when he was showing me this move and helped me build the workout program that I do. And but I figured, no, I have to start by showing you guys the clean first, because you have to get into that clean. From there, then you can get into a thruster, you can get into just a squat, you can get into other things. So in the progression of the workout, which I'll share kind of a layout of what that workout actually looks like. It goes from the two-handed swings, the one-handed swings, and then into what's called a thruster. Now, I'm going to break it down into just start with the clean, and then just start with just a squat, just so that way you get the feel of that. Because when I first started these, I remember Keith telling me, he said, yeah, get as low as you can. Think of Spider-Man clinging to a wall. And when I tried doing it, it was like, oh wow, I can't go any lower than that. I just don't have the strength or even just the comfort with it. I'm not sure how it's supposed to feel or anything like that. And of course, with any type of squat type exercise, one of the things that you have to be careful of is making sure that your knees don't come forward past your toes. You want to be able to see your toes. You want to be able to see your feet when you do a squat. So when we do a squat, we want our butt to stick out, our back to be straight, our head to be up, right? And then if I look down, I should be able to still see my feet. If my knees are starting to hang out over my feet, okay, that's going to put a lot of pressure on my knees and can do a bit of damage. So we don't want to try to get into a move and compromise that safety element. So just start with just what you're comfortable with, and then build up from there. And if you get that core, if you get those, what'll end up happening is you'll be able to tighten your abs up, your core up, and scrunch right up. And then once I was able to do that, it was like, that's what Keith meant by be Spider-Man, like you're clinging to a wall, keeping everything all tight together. I've never experienced that before until I was able to strengthen up my core, my abs, and everything else to be able to get into that position. So where we're going, it'll look something like this. We'll get into that clean. And then for the thruster, what it is actually we drop down into a squat, and you go as low as you're comfortable, and then you thrust up like you're doing a squat, but then you keep your momentum going and you press that arm up. And again, thinking everything in line. So when I'm pressing up, I want that kettlebell above my bone structure, above my frame. That's going to give me that strength, stability, and everything's just trying to hold it there. What happens is I even find once I start getting tired, this arm will start to drop and bend, and then even this bend in here, right? I'm starting to lose form, I'm starting to go. So I'm wanting to be thrusting up, keeping that up, thinking bicep to ear, as best you can. Arm back, we don't want to be forward either, we want to be able to get that arm back as well. So as I said, everything's staying in line. You're keeping that weight above what it, especially what you're working. So in this particular case, you're working your legs with that squat, right? You want that weight over it, and then it's the driving it up, bring it down, go back down, thrust it back up again. And how I do that in the workout, we did 10 on one side, go into a one-handed swing switch, bring it back into a clean, which then sets us up to do the thruster on this side. Okay, so how that'll look, what I'll do is I'll just do a swing one-handed, get into my clean, and then I'll show you just a basic squat first, because that's maybe all you do, and then I'll show you different levels of dropping it down into more of a thruster or a full thruster, that kind of thing. So we'll start just again with the two-handed swing. Okay. Again, thinking about your what muscles are actually pulling that kettlebell up, right? It's the posterior chain. You want that straight back. Okay. Actually, I'm even going to turn sideways here just so it's a little bit of a review. And right, and then do the one-handed again, just swinging with that arm. Now this time, I'm just going to come straight up into that clean. If I drop it back down, there's my clean. That's what it kind of looks like from the side. I didn't do that in the last video, and I'm thinking, I probably should have. Okay, so now that I'm in that clean position, also checking my hand. Is that kettlebell handle across that, where that little Sharpie mark would be on my hand, right? It's nice tight to my body. Okay, I've got a nice good stance. I like keeping my hand here. I don't want it on it necessarily, but here it just gives me that stability. And if I was just to do a squat, again, all I'm going to do is just lower it down, watch that my knees aren't over my toes, okay, and I can squat back up. There's a squat, right? And if I wanted to do 10 of those, I could do 10 of those. Okay, to do the thruster, okay, I drop all the way down. Okay, and this is that Spider-Man against the wall kind of analogy that Keith had given me, right? Again, I'm looking, okay, my knees are still over my feet, they're not hanging out over, right? And then press up. Okay, I'm keeping my hand out here for balance. If I need to drop it down, I can. This hand's here to catch. Okay, squeezing my butt cheeks, keeping everything all nice and tight. Pressing my arm up, thinking bicep to ear. And then it's just bring it back down and up. Bring it back down and up. If I switch over, I can switch like this. Now I'm checking, I've got my grip on this side. I'm in my clean position. Squat down, bring it up, bicep to ear, hands out front for that stability. And it's not just my shoulder's helping, but a lot of that is called a thruster because it's the motion of the movement of pushing that kettlebell up that my legs are producing, and then my arm is just extending it out from there. Okay. If I bring it back down again, I can then go into my next, whatever it might be, switch back over. I begin to my clean. I think the next one in the video, I press and I go into a windmill from there. So you can see everything comes back. Everything comes back to that clean, and then I can go into the next exercise. Okay. So one last time, I'll do the thruster. This time I'm going to do it though from the side. So I'm just going to turn sideways here so you can see what that looks like. Okay. Again, start with my 2-hand swing, 1-hand swing. I've got it up where I want it. You can even see I can lean a little bit, keeping that weight above my legs. And I'm just going to squat down, up, squat down, up. I can switch to the other side. So on my left side, again, I'm just trying to go square. Okay, and up, 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 and from there, I can bring it down and up. Okay, so that's the thruster. Again, if that one's too hard, even with the thruster, you can just do a squat and just press from there if you need to. So the depth is strictly dependent on how comfortable you are, but making sure that those knees don't extend over your toes and that you're keeping everything nice and in line. When you get that arm up, think bicep to ear. You should be able to touch your ear with your bicep, you know, and just keep that nice and firm. Bring it back down and then press up again. So if that's as far as you get with your thruster, then that's fine. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike again, and in this video, this is just a continuation of the little series that I'm going on with right now. The focus mostly just on the legs. This is where I talked about doing the 2-handed swings, or the sometimes it's referred to as a Russian style kettlebell swing, which is just using that posterior chain where you're hinging, the idea to hinge at the hips, right, flat back, and using all your power's coming from your glutes, so you're charging at your glutes, your hamstrings, and your calves. So what that's doing is working back there. These other exercises you saw in the last video, working with the side lunges, working with the curtsy, the side squats, the curtsy lunges, and then this next one, which is a squat kick, works a lot. I mean, it still works the glutes and stuff, but it works a lot of the quads. So you can see what happens is I get a lot of balance with being able to do all these quad exercises, and the lunges and everything else. As I said, lunges will still work your glutes a little bit, but I'm not overdoing just the one side and neglecting the other. So between the two, I find it gives a nice balance. As I said, it almost gives a bit of a flow to the, as soon as you get back into those 2-handed swings, it gives a little bit of a flow to the workout, I find anyways, rather than it being so jerky. But that's just my opinion on that. So for this next one, this is the squat kick. Now this moves into actually the last set, because everything that was already done in the first unit was the 2-handed swing, the thrusters, windmills, cleans, and there might have even actually been the side lunges in that one too, I think, in the video, if I recall. And then back to 2-handed swings. That was the first unit of exercise. Second unit, 2-handed swings, press, reverse lunge. There is a shoulder press in there, but I haven't done that yet. I was just going to finish up with some of these leg ones in there. There'll be a shoulder press, but then after that it's back to cleans, so alternating cleans, and then 2-handed swings, and then the third unit, is almost a repeat of the first one. So it goes back to doing some of the stuff that we've already done. There's a couple little ones that I'm going to add here at the end that are mixed in there, such as a clean and press, swing press, a couple other little ones like that, but a lot of them we've already done because they were done earlier, either in the first unit of exercises or the second, and then they're just repeated into the third and fourth. This one I'm doing is part of the fourth, so it's later in that full video, but with the leg workout that I do, that's just really focuses on legs, that has the lunges, the reverse lunges, has the side squats, has the curtsy lunges. It also has, and it has thrusters, it also has the squat kick. So that's why I was throwing this one in now to show the squat kick, and then hopefully I can show what it looks like all together as one full workout. A lot of it's just repetition, but it's those 4 or 5 exercises, and then just kind of repeat the cycle, and goes for about 20-25 minutes, depending on how. I guess you could make it longer if you wanted to. Mine works out to be 20-25 minutes, somewhere in there when I do it. So this is the squat kick, or the squat kick. It is just like it sounds. So first we'll just look at just the squat. So I'm going to start with my two-handed swing, go to drop to the one-handed swing, and then I'm going to go into my clean. So now I'm in my rest position. Now from here what I'm going to do is just drop into a squat. Now with the squat I could just squat. There's this basic squat. But what I'm going to add to this is a kick at the top. So when I bring it down, I kick out. Okay, from the side again. Get a little bit more square. There we go. And kick. Okay, once I've done 10, I roll it out, switch hands, back up to this, and then I go 10 the other side. I drop down and kick, kick, kick. Goes from the side on this side, kick. And again, once I'm done, I'm back in this position. I can roll it out, go into two-handed swings, go back, switch sides for the next exercise, whatever it might be, and go from there. Okay, so that's the squat kick. Again, it's built in. You can build it in wherever you want in the workout, but it's a good break from just doing the upper body stuff if you just want to focus on legs. And it really gives you a burn, especially on one side. Holding on one side and you're kicking out, really works the one side, then you switch it over, go to the other, really burns out the other side a little bit. So it's a good little exercise. Okay, thank you for watching. Hey everyone, it's Mike here. Today what I'm going to do is look at the next exercise that was done in the video, and actually, believe it or not, all the other ones we've already covered. So in one of these videos, I will explain how the workout was actually designed, because you may say, hey, where was this one in it? This next exercise, for example, where did this fit in? What about, you did a bunch of other things? Well, yeah, we did the cleans, and then two-handed swings. So maybe just a recap, that's how it started. The first, what I call unit of exercise, was two-handed swings. So 10 of those, 10 one-arm swings on the right side, 10 one-arm swings on the left, 10 thrusters on the right, 10 thrusters on the left, 10 windmills on the right, 10 windmills on the left, 10 cleans on the right, 10 cleans on the left, and then followed by two-handed swing, 10 two-handed swings. Okay, there's other things that can be added in there. Sometimes I'll do, this one's going to actually set us up for some leg exercises that I do, and this is with an inverted kettlebell. And so that's actually what we're going to look at today, is an inverted kettlebell press. And then from there, you'll see that same movement, or that same inversion allows us to do a few other leg curtsy lunges, those kind of things, if you're wondering why I'm doing my little dance here. Those kind of things. So that was the first unit. The second unit starts with two-handed swings again, so 10 two-handed swings, And the first exercise of the second unit is this two-handed press with the inverted kettlebell. So in the video, it all looked like it flowed as one. As I said, when I break this down for you and to say how was it all designed, you'll see how it was almost set up that you can go 5 minutes with those other exercises, take a minute rest, then go another 5 minutes with this next set. So this would have started with 10 two-handed swings and then go into this press. It's pretty straightforward with this one because all we're going to do is actually just a two-handed press above our head. The key thing with this one, and this was a term that Sean had used in the training session he provided, was saying, you're creating a picture frame for your face. Your face is a picture, you're going to create a picture frame. So basically what he's saying is keep your elbow or your biceps by your ears. Try to get your face, everything nice and square. You don't want to be leaning forward, you don't want your hands out, those kind of things. You want this to be up and stretch straight up, so you want to frame your face, okay, is the analogy with this one. Okay, so the first step with this, again, started with two-handed swings. So this was like 10 two-handed swings. Now, this is where this inversion occurs. Now, this one was one that I believe Keith had shown me. Now, most other videos I've seen, and even Sean, just showed doing this and just holding the kettlebell like this. There was also bottoms up. So it was actually holding it so it was straight up. This one here is just an inversion. And what I'm doing with this is I'm actually just holding the kettlebell by the ball. And so all I've done here is when I've brought it up, I've just slid my thumbs through here and I'm just catching it in here. So when I want that inversion, there, kettlebell's now nice close to my body. So whether I was doing squats or if I do lunges or side lunges or anything like that, that's the position. So you'll even see one of the exercises or one of the videos we'll do side lunges, right? And so this is how I'm holding it. So that's the nice thing about this inversion hold, is that it leads to a number of different exercises that we can do. So I'll just back up here again. So we've got into our inversion, and you can keep your feet shoulder width apart if you want. If you want to make it more challenging to your core, you can bring your feet together. That's what I like to do, just to make it a little bit more challenging. But again, if you want a nice stable base, that's fine. The key thing with this one is what we're going to do is press, and you want to frame your face. So you want to be pressing straight up, okay, thinking your biceps by your ears, and then bring it back down. Press up, down, press up, down, press up, down. And again, we do that for 10. Once I'm done, I bring it back down, and then you'll see we go into a different exercise, which actually brings into doing slingshots. So you can see how when I bring it down to the swing, then I swing into a slingshot. But if I was like, no, I'm not ready for that, again, I can go into, once I bring that down, I can say, hey, nope, I'm gonna, before I do my next exercise, just bring it back up here again. What am I doing next? Okay, I'm gonna do slingshots, right? So might look something like this, right? Do my press, I've done my 10, bring it down, say, oh, can't remember what I'm doing next. Okay, back to my clean. All right, I'm gonna do my slingshots, and then go into my slingshot from there, right? Which will be the next one that we look at. Okay, so again, that's just a little reminder or review, just saying, hey, when you're done, you need to go into a swing, one hand swing, bring it back to your rest station, right? You can do that. But that's just the two-handed press. It's just a good, good for your core, keep everything nice and stable. Again, framing your face, you're pressing up with both arms, right? Lowering it down to your chest, press up again, lower down your chest, press up when you're ready, right? And then you can bring it down, go into your next move, whatever that might be. Okay, so that's it for today, or for this video. Thanks for watching. Everyone, it's Mike here again. In this video, what I'm going to look at is some of the variations of just basic like side squat, even just a regular squat. I can show how that can transition into that. Curtsy lunge, and just a number of things that we can do with that reverse grip kettlebell that I showed you in the video with the two-handed press. So to start with, what I'm going to do is just get into that two-handed press and get into that position just to show you how that transition looks. So again, with two-handed swing, and say I go into that two-handed press or whatever I want to do. Okay, so here's my neutral position. And again, I'll just come close just to show you how I just slip that through. So when it was down, slip it up. My thumb has just come through. I'm grabbing the ball here, and then I'm just holding the kettlebell close. Close, and I can do a number of different exercises from there. So once I have that kettlebell in this position here, again, one of the ones you guys already showed was the two-handed press. But we can do a number of things. We can do a side lunge. So one of the ones I do is just keep the weight out in front and just side lunge. Again, trying to keep my butt out, my back straight, my head up. I'm stepping on and I'm just pressing up. I'm actually kind of mimicking a little bit of a skate, skiing or skating, where I'm out and then I'm thinking pressing, and all I'm doing is bringing heel to heel, back up, heel to heel, heel to heel, just like so. I could alternate, so could do this, bring it up, and then out. I just find I lose a bit of my momentum, a bit of my rhythm. So if I was going to do this, I would go 10 on one side and just that press, okay? From here, I can also go into curtsy lunge. Now, if my arms are getting tired, sometimes I do. That's the other thing, is that my core is working, trying to keep everything straight while my legs are I'm focusing on my legs. But everything else is just tight, holding it. So say I get tired, I want to try something different. I can bring it down and do some swings, do some other things just to break it up a little bit. Might do a different exercise, whatever. Now with the leg one though, a lot of it is that. I do break it up with some of this clean rest position here and go into squats, just one leg or one-sided, and then just into a squat. And I do variations, squat kicks, could just be just plain squats. Some of them are into the thrusters like we did earlier in the other video. And then after doing 10 of those, whatever, bring the kettlebell back down, bring it back up, and then go into the next one. So another one that I do the side lunge, and I also do the curtsy lunge, where I step back, okay, and just bring it across the body a little bit, step back. So instead of lunging straight back, okay, I lunge across and then back. So it's a curtsy lunge. Okay, and I would do 10 on each side, 1, 2, 2, etc. And then go from there. So from that position, as I said, it gives a lot of different, some flexibility of all kinds of different leg movements you can do. As I said, you can go into the press if you want to do some upper body stuff, side lunges, curtsy lunges, and that sort of thing. And you could even just go into squats if you want, just holding the kettlebell there rather than on the one side. I do the one side because that gets into the squat lunges, which I'll show in a different video that I kind of demonstrated in this one. But that just goes with the one side, and then you switch it over to the other side. So that's the reverse grip kettlebell with the side lunge and with the curtsy lunge on both sides. And that's it. So thanks for watching.